Hello, fellow YouTubers. Sound Reviews here with
Johnny Drinks.
Barkeep and Thurston.
otherwise known as N5, and we're back at the old studio. So we just got back from watching Spider-Man: Homecoming, and we went to go see it at AMC, which gave us these cool little action figures that you see Ursula playing with. All right, so like I said, we went to go see Spider-Man: Homecoming, and I'm gonna go ahead and roll it. Alright, so I rolled the graphic of spoilers, so if you stayed, you know that spoilers are coming. Alright, you've been warned. So the movie starts off basically, after the first Avenger attack?
After the New York, after
Yeah.
Civil War. Well,
No.
It started in New York.
It started in New York.
After the aliens attack. Oh, well, technically, yeah.
Okay. So, alright, everybody who remembers the beginning of it, that's where you see Michael Keaton's character, which is Adrian Toomes. And, he's the one who's contracted to clean up the whole mess. And that's when you see, what Tony Stark and the government make their own cleanup crew, basically, right? I forgot what it's called. Do you remember what it's called?
No.
I know it was like
Tony is wanting to keep all the tech for himself, so
Yeah. He didn't want it to get out to the public or to anybody else. So that's where it starts off with the Vulture basically coming into his own. And that's where you meet his crew, which is the Tinker and the Shocker.
two Shockers.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of that? The setup? Think it was a good setup?
I think it's a great backstory. I mean, Michael Keaton is Michael Keaton. He's always going to bring a great part to that role, so it was a great start.
I thought it was good, just in general. Like, it was a good setup. You know, it didn't. It kind of gave a good reason why they were gonna start doing what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Their livelihoods were taken away.
Mm.
Yeah, basically. And then it goes to Spider-Man where, the Civil War, he's just filming everything, vlogging himself, and he's just explaining everything, which was kind of cool because it didn't go through a hardcore setup of his backstory and everything. It just kind of continued from where Civil War started, which I thought was good pacing in the beginning. It wasn't slow. It was actually pretty good. It wasn't. I didn't see any slow spots, basically.
I liked it because it didn't do the traditional Spider-Man storyline. It kind of gives you an idea of what he's like as a kind of an impetuous kid, videoing himself, and even stops in the middle right after he takes Captain America's shield, and he's got to do a little selfie about it, and I thought it set the tone for his character really well.
Yeah, what do you think?
It was nice, especially the whole film. It starts off with a film by Peter Parker.
Yeah.
That was like a nice touch
That
right
was
there.
good. I actually thought that was actually part of the film at first, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And then it starts going, and he's narrating everything, and the guy's like, "What's his name? Happy."
Yeah.
He's like, "You're not supposed to be filming this."
Yeah, Jon Favreau comes back as Happy, and I thought in this movie he did a really good job just playing that character. Somebody who's been through it from the start all the way to now. That looks like he was just a grizzled guy who's seen everything, and nothing really, surprises him anymore. Throughout this movie, he's just like, yeah, okay. And he's kind of Tony's assistant now versus what he was in Iron Man 3, which was the head of security.
Mm-hmm.
So he's back to being Tony's assistant, which, I guess is kind of a step down.
I don't know. He even says he's when Robert Downey Jr. was talking to Tom Holland, Happy even says, "It was really hard for me to ask about that, about him becoming Tony's assistant again."
Yeah. But I think they play off well. Favreau and, of course, Tony Stark, which is Robert Downey, and Tom Holland. I think the three main characters of the cast actually did pretty well. They had good chemistry.
Mm.
What do you think?
I agree. I kind of thought they were gonna put a little bit more with Aunt May, to be honest, throughout the movie, but they just kind of had her as just quick little cameos, like, oh yeah, Aunt May, just giving him a quick little pep talk, and then that's it.
What do you think of Melissa Tomei?
Well, she's fine. Yeah, she didn't really have a big role. Wasn't quite as what's the word? The rock that Peter, I guess, normally has growing up
Yeah, and then
after Uncle Ben. And yeah, it could have. I don't know. I wasn't too happy with Happy.
well, to me, Aunt May looked to me was kind of like a ditz. She was kind of like, oh yeah, and like when she burned the meatloaf, and you know she's trying to be funny, and she worries a lot, and to me that just kind of took away from her as a strong character that she was in the other iterations of the movies and in the comics.
I think it kind of humanizes her. It makes her seem like she can have flaws. Like she's not any better than Peter. That's one thing that always bugged me about the comics is that, Aunt May was kind of this elderly lady who just had everything together and was super strong and the only time she ever got emotional was about Ben. Like, human beings have flaws.
It felt like to me the movie was catering more to the culture now, the kids now. Because, like you said, Aunt May back when, an elderly lady, and this lady, I mean, how many moms have time to come home and cook, and they work, and they have to be a helicopter parent, and this kid is everything, he has everything on, his little laptop, and he's got his phone, and he knows all this electronic shit, so I think they just updated it more for the kids now, you know what I mean? So they could relate more, that's how I felt anyway, you know what I mean?
I agree with that entirely. Like this movie is for sure done based on today's culture. Like I'm way out of date for this movie, but I still enjoyed the hell out of it.
And the whole Tony Stark and Happy not listening to him. Oh, the adults never listen to the kids, and we know what's going on, and they don't. And I thought it was more of like a rally cry for all the young kids out there,
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Really good point.
Yeah, and then it shows Peter that he's 15 in this.
14.
14?
No, he was 15.
15.
Because he said
No,
it
he's
to
14.
Tony.
He's going to be 15.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure because when he told Tony, he's like, I'm 15.
Yeah.
And he's like,
I'm
the
15.
adults are talking.
Yeah, I thought that's what he said too. Like, I'm
Mm.
15. I just turned 15.
Just turned 15. You're right.
Yeah.
At least, I don't know.
That's what I heard.
I don't know. You
Consensus
see what YouTube says.
is 15.
Leave a comment, y'all.
He looks 25.
Yeah, well, he's not like Tobey Maguire, where Tobey Maguire was like 35 and he's in high school.
That's true.
This kid actually looks like he could pass. He doesn't look like a total narc, put it that way, in high school.
He's
But-
not from 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, he's not from 21 Jump Street.
Well, he looks like, like if Johnny played the character, Johnny looks like he could be one of our kids, but he's about our age. So it's just like if Johnny played the character. They just got a kid that looks, an adult that looks like a kid, right? How old is that guy?
He's like 21.
21?
Yeah. So,
Kind
yeah.
of.
Yeah, you baby face.
Still basically a kid.
Yeah. A kid that can vote and drink.
Yes.
So we're moving on. Second part of the movie, you see that the Tinker and Vulture and his crew are getting all the alien tech and making weapons and selling them. First, they're selling them to everybody, like from low-level thugs to, people with a lot of criminal, like one guy who had a homicide and all these, like a laundry list of offenses. Yeah. So he's just trying to make money, basically. That's what this looked like to me. It's just a guy who's trying to make a hustle so that he gets a piece of the pie. But he's just doing it the wrong way.
Right. Well, and he was kind of burnt about Tony Stark coming in and taking his construction cleanup job, and I think he was kind of like, that was his way of taking vengeance against Tony Stark,
Yeah, against all the Avengers and stuff, because even he makes fun of, like, that they wear costumes, Halloween costumes, and this and that.
Mhm.
So he has, like, a gripe with, the heroes of the Marvel Universe. And which I would be too. I mean, if somebody, if they give you a contract and then they automatically just take it away from you, which is kind of justified in this, where this villain is more grounded than like anybody from Thor or anything else like that. This is more grounded because it actually could happen to people where the government can come in and take stuff away, and they're just like, oh well, sorry.
Am I the only one that keeps thinking that Tony Stark is the reason all of these movies keep happening? Like,
Yeah.
maybe he's the best Marvel villain.
Watch.
That's a good point. I mean, you know, you look at Civil War II, everything happened there because of Tony Stark. They even started disbanding the Avengers because they were like, oh, all these things just keep happening in all these different locations, and Tony's the head at that point, and they're just like, we need to disband it. This happens, of course, because of Tony. You know,
And then Ultron.
Ultron
happened because of Tony. Yeah,
Could be that I'm Team Captain America, though.
as you can tell. But yeah, I get it. I mean, I guess the whole universe is built around him, so everything he does has cause and effect. You know, cause, he wants to be prepared for Thanos, which is, if you follow all these movies, that's who the big baddie is. He's trying to prepare for him, but in doing that, he's making more enemies and making more conflict for him and all of his superhero friends to go up against, which is kind of a good thing, I think, because then it kind of sharpens, like steel sharpening steel.
They're grinding those levels, gaining levels.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more, there's a lot of repercussions for like the good intentions that he has. You know, I always keep thinking of the old saying, like, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. And that's what it is. He has a lot of good intentions, but everything he keeps doing seems to be causing problems every step of the way.
Right.
How philosophical of you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, back to the movie. So, they're selling stuff. What happened next?
That's when Peter comes across them after they're doing kind of a shady deal under the bridge, and the Shocker is he's firing off. Don't do it. He's firing off his alien tech guns that the Tinkerer made.
Now, one shocker. Two shockers.
Your mom watches this.
Yeah, I'll cut that out. All right, we'll just go back to.
Blooper reel.
Yeah, blooper reel.
No, not even for real.
Well, okay, so Spider-Man, Peter Parker, finds out that they're doing deals under a bridge, like some undisclosed location in the suburbs, and he tries to stop them. With that, you see his inexperience, that he can't actually stop anybody because they're just driving away in a van, and he's causing all this property damage, you know, putting a lot of people in harm's way, and it's just inexperience to me.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a real shocker.
Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, because if it was Captain America or Thor or anybody else, they would have just stopped it right then and there.
Destroyed the van, destroyed the van.
Yeah, destroyed the van or done something to not have it progress that far. Which is kind of cool in this movie because you see, like you saw, if you watch Blade or any of the other movies, you know, they're already polished, they're already clean, they already know what they're doing. This is like, not an origin story, but like a soft reboot, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it was done well because I didn't need another origin story. Like, you know, if you're going to go see these Marvel movies, you already know what's happened. It's not like you go to see Batman all of a sudden in the DC. I know it's not Marvel. And then all of a sudden you're just blown away that Bruce Wayne's parents get killed. Like, yeah, we all know that. We don't need to see it again. Thanks, Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
In this rendition, like, I thought it was really good because I don't know if you noticed, but every time he was using his webs and he was flying through the sky and stuff, he was not graceful whatsoever. Like, it made him really like a human superhero, someone that's, you know, has faults, and he overshoots stuff and he's flying in the wrong direction and he's trying to gather his bearings. I thought it was great in that part because it did make him seem like, oh, well, I just came into these powers and I'm still learning everything, and It's not like, oh yeah, I'm the greatest already, and I'm shooting webs, and I'm perfect acrobatics and everything. He messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So, if he was strong enough to stop a bus, how come he couldn't stop the van?
Because he didn't put his webs on it yet. Because in the whole fight scene, he stops the guy from shooting him, but he doesn't get to the car.
He was already on the
Right.
ground when he
Yeah.
shot the web, so the car was able to drag him. It doesn't. I mean, that's
Couldn't he just web the axles up so they
Again.
couldn't spin?
That's something that you have to learn, like on the job training, I guess. That's what I think, because you're not thinking
He's
that
supposed
fast
to be
as
a
a,
super
as
smart 14-year-old,
But that's-
15-year-old.
That's the thing about the movie, though, being hyper relatable is if you were a 15-year-old kid and you have these powers, I mean, you're still rolling around on the ground with a van dragging you. You're not going to have the precision it takes to get an axle.
I mean, like, before he even, like, starts rolling, like, when they knock him back and then they jump in the van, he shoots the axles
But
and the
he's
car,
thinking
the
on
vehicle
his
doesn't really
feet
move.
too. You know what I mean? Like I loved it because of that. Because the kids can look at it and say like, well, yeah. I mean, I would do that too. And it's like, well, you're 15. That's why you would do something so stupid. You would go that far with it. You know what I mean? And then there's that whole where, well, you know, Michael Keaton says, you know, at the end, you don't understand how the world works. They're screwing us. We're the little guy. We have to carve out a piece for ourselves, and the adults can relate to that. Do you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I love how grounded, how real this one was, that everybody could take something from it. You know what I mean? I thought.
Well, and I like how Spider-Man's always been one of those heroes who's not particularly great at what he does. He's not a flashy superhero. He's just kind of like a goofy guy who gets some superpowers. And I can definitely relate to the goofy guy.
Yeah, I mean, even at our age, you know, we still mess up, we still fumble around. So I can just imagine a 15-year-old kid, you know,
Yeah.
and he wasn't even in New York. He was in the suburb where there was no skyscrapers, there was no, you know, where his powers were at a disadvantage because he had to run everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he wasn't able to swing and then drop down on him, like he usually does in the comics and in other movies. He was having to have to run and try and catch him and then cause all this property damage. And like Gosling was saying, to me it was more, you know, like on the job training. You know, something 15-year-old me wouldn't be able to do any of this.
Mm-mm.
You know, I'm being real. Not even gonna try it. But so we'll move on from there, and you know, then on the flip side, you see Peter, who's, you know, 15 years old. He doesn't really, you know how to talk to girls. He's really shy, but you know, he's Spider-Man, and he's trying to be an Avenger throughout this whole movie. He's trying to be, you know, one of the great superheroes, and his effort of trying to prove himself, he causes a lot of damage.
Yeah.
You know, and that's another thing you were saying. You know, good intentions. You know, he tries to do everything on his own, and a lot of things always go wrong. And all right, who's next? Anybody else want to say something?
No, I think when they go to DC is definitely
next
way. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
DC what?
Washington, D.C., Academic Decathlon,
Oh yeah.
Washington Monument.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is a really long movie, guys. This is like a 2.5 hour movie. Yeah, it is a lot.
That part actually I thought was when he was probably being the most brave and actually being Spider-Man, when he went and saved the kids from the elevator, you know, because he was doing a lot of things that a superhero would do, and nobody said, hey, you know, you're causing the collateral damage, you're putzing it up or anything. No, he actually just saved the day.
What I liked is that he was scared. Like, he was like, oh, I'm this high, I've never been this high before. And they're like, okay, well, that's when he unlocks all of the suit's capabilities, and it has AI. Like Jarvis was to Iron Man, this was for Peter. What was her name?
Karen.
Karen, he named
named her
it.
Karen, and she's just telling him like, all right, Peter, you know, if you fall from this height, you're gonna die. So he's just freaking out, and he's trying to figure it out, and he does, and he saves everybody on the elevator, which is all of his classmates. Which was a good action scene. I thought it, like Gosling was saying, it's pretty grounded because I would freak out about that high up. Even if I had those powers, I'd be freaking out because the fear would overtake you as something that you haven't done before, or something that, you know, nobody else really experiences at that age. You know, being that high up.
Well, and like Johnny Drinks was saying, like I think it's really cool the way he has these little glimmering moments of hero, like true hero, but he's scared the whole time, but he does all these great acrobatics, he saves the day, you know, he kind of, you know, he fumbles his way through it, but he ends up looking good, you know?
No, like at the end of that whole exchange, he falls right down the elevator shaft. You know, he looks foolish. Like his inexperience shows in this movie. Like he'll save the day, but then he'll look dumb. Like not dumb, but he'll look like he doesn't know what he's doing. And
Right.
that's what I found charming about this movie, was that it wasn't like oh yeah, well, he learned it in like a week. You know, he knows what to do. He knows how far his web shoots, because even his friend was asking him, well, how far does your web shoot? I don't know. You know, like, he's asking about all of his powers. He's like, no. Like,
That's when the 15-year-old comes into play, because he's super smart. But I mean, even me being a normal person, I would want to know how the distance if I jump off of a bridge,
yeah.
where I can get something else. But he's 15. It's like, dude, I don't know. I just jump and it happens. I don't think about that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's where the 15-year-old part shows. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's all reactionary. I think that's with Spider-Man. It was all reactionary. Like, when he unlocked the whole suit, he found out that he had taser webs, you know, kill mode.
540 options for webs.
Yeah,
like-
and he was just like, I just want to shoot regular. Like, he didn't want to go to the tutorial or anything. He was just like, all right, I'm gun ho. I'm gonna stop these guys. I'm gonna save the day. But he didn't think far ahead enough to where, all right, there's a reason why Tony is putting me on these protocols and having to do all these trials and stuff. He doesn't think that way. He's just thinking, oh, I have superpowers and I can stop anybody and do anything.
Right.
Do you feel that the elevator scene with Liz was a little bit of a throwback to the Gwen Stacy with Andrew Garfield?
Absolutely, because he was hanging upside down, and Karen was like, "Now's your chance, kiss her," and then that's when he fell.
That-
You're thinking of the wrong one.
Yeah, no, that's the one I was thinking about, the first one with Kristen Dunst and Tobey
Or
Maguire.
I was
sorry.
talking about when Gwen Stacy falls to her death and
Oh, and he
with
saves
the Green
her?
Goblin, and he fails to save her.
Yeah, this one he
This
saves
one he
Liz.
saves Liz.
And, you know, that's what I like about this movie, too, is that it everything that came before it, but in a totally different way. But if you've seen all the movies, you pick that up. You're like, oh, that's what happened there. That's what happened there. But it did it in such a way that it wasn't like rehashing it to the point where, you know, you roll your eyes. But it was like, oh, like a little Easter egg, a little nugget of, oh, okay, cool. And, you know, we're talking about it right now. And that's what I think makes a good movie, too, is that that people talk about it after the fact, you know. If you talk about it and you really like it, that's what we're doing right here. We're talking about it because we really like it. I mean, all right, so moving on from there, Parker is just gung-ho. He's really not paying attention to his schoolwork. You know, he's quitting a lot of clubs. And he's just really into Spider-Man. But he still, you see how smart he is, that he answers questions fast, and he also gets them right. Where Flash, which is his counterpart, but in the comics, Flash is like a jock who like overpowers Peter a lot, and they didn't show that. It's just a guy who's trying to rival with Peter, I guess. You know, trying to outsmart him, trying to make him look foolish. Well, being a bully, but being a bully now where it's not physical, it's more mental.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
yeah.
I didn't really like the fact that he was a DJ, because I guess every 15-year-old kid nowadays is a DJ.
That's what Macs are for.
But yeah, but Peter, you know, he, in all of his classmates and everybody sees that he's always busy. He's never.
He dropped band.
Yeah, he dropped band. He dropped a bunch of stuff, and he's contacting Happy throughout this whole thing. So when he tries to tell a lie to Stark, Stark catches on it real quick, like where he said, "Oh, that's a tuba," when he was trying to take out all the guys on the ferry, and Stark's like, "Oh, dude, Happy told me you quit band like 6 weeks ago," and he's like, "Oh, well, I gotta go," and he just hangs up on him. And that's when you find out where Peter is actually trying to take on the Vulture and everybody on his own, and fails, but not fails because he wasn't trying or that he didn't have good intentions, like you said. It's just that his inexperience again shows, like, because he didn't know what the weapon would do. He didn't know the alien tech and what it's capable of doing. So all that played a factor into what happened, which was, not his fault, but his fault. That's where this movie kind of does it well, yeah, it kind of is his fault, but it's kind of not his fault.
Letting his friend walk around with the bomb.
I like that because I didn't know anything about this tech. Did you know that?
No. I think they were also inventing a lot of this tech too because, one thing will do one thing and they have 15 other things that do 15 other things, I think they just kind of invented it as it was convenient.
Yeah.
To the story.
Convenient to the plot. Yeah.
But for you guys who don't know, and again, spoilers, the alien tech, when Peter's on the Staten Island ferry, cuts the boat completely in half, and it gives another nod, like Sonya Reviews was saying, at an older movie, which when the boat gets cut completely in half, he uses his webs to try to hold the boat back together.
The subway scene.
The subway scene.
The elevated trains and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And that, that was kind of cool. Like I said, it's little nods to the movies that came before it. And then Stark comes in, saves the day. He puts the boat back together, welds it back up, and that's where him and Stark get it, where they argue. And Stark was like, "Well, I believed you. That's why I sent the FBI there, to arrest this guy, and you messed it up. And if somebody would have died, or if you would have killed people, it would have been on you." And I think that's more Tony's experience of the past Avengers movies and all the other adventures he's had, is that those still haunt him at night, where he couldn't save everybody, and the people that did die, he still thinks about, and he just doesn't want that for Peter.
And that thinking that he could do it just by himself, shouldering everything.
Yeah.
That was definitely a kickback to the Civil War portion, because that's when those kids, or the mom had went and talked to Stark and said, "Yeah, my family or whatever died in the one that was when they were on the floating continent thing."
Ultron.
Yeah, with the Age of Ultron, and that whole part. So I think that was just a reference where Tony has already grown a little bit, and he's like, "Okay, I've already had to deal with this myself. I don't want you to have to deal with it now." But you're starting to get to the point where you're acting like I was acting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he told him, he's like, when Peter Parker was like, "I wanted to be like you," and then he was like, "I wanted you to be better."
Tony's trying hard to do the dad figure thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think he does an okay job with it. He's trying, but at the same time, it's Tony Stark, so he's not doing a great job.
The sort of dad that doesn't have child custody there, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you kind of see that he actually has been paying attention, knowing that he hadn't been in band for 6 weeks or 6 months or whatever it was. So all these messages that have, never got replies from with Happy, they've actually have been paying attention to him this whole time.
Well, and then when he activates the suit, and Karen tells him that they've been recording, or the suit's been recording all of his stuff the entire time. I could only imagine that Tony Stark and Happy were having a good laugh at some of that.
Oh yeah,
Probably
with
that's it.
was it Baby Monitor
Baby
protocol?
Monitor Protocol.
Yeah.
He does a lot of imitations of other superheroes, which is pretty funny. And so Tony takes the suit away, and Peter he goes back into being a kid, because Tony just cuts him off. He's like, "You know what, you're done. I don't want you to be a part of this anymore." So for the next 20 minutes of the movie, you see him getting back to his schoolwork, just being a regular kid. And here's where the big twist comes. The girl he's lusting after, Liz, her dad is
Del Vulture.
yeah. Well, that was kind of cool. I like that little twist. I kind of didn't see it coming. I'm gonna admit that I didn't really see it coming. I guess everybody else here did.
No.
I didn't see it coming, but I just wasn't shocked when I saw it. I was just like, oh, okay, well, that happened.
Yeah, I was kind of like, didn't expect that, but okay, that's how they're gonna write Liz out of this movie,
Right.
the series.
Yep. Because you can't apparently have a surviving love interest for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, she's not, Mary Jane or something like that.
Well, that's true.
MJ.
I think that's all. That's Sony right there. Sony was just like, you get Spider-Man and Aunt May, and that's it. And everybody else, like all of his friends, have different names, which I haven't associated with any comics that I've read.
Flash was, again, different, and
Yeah.
he was also not Flash Thompson. He was just Flash.
Yeah. It wasn't like, oh yeah, this is MJ. This is, Gwen Stacy. This is that. It's just like, okay, well, these are all new friends here. They go to Homecoming. That's what this movie's titled, Homecoming. So they go, and then, Vulture finds out that, Peter is Spider-Man because of the conversation Liz and Peter are having. He kind of puts two and two together. And kind of threatens him. Well, he does threaten him.
Yeah.
Like, don't mess with me anymore, and I'll let you go because you saved my daughter in Washington, D.C., so I'm just going to let you go. And that's when Peter, goes back out there, and that's when you see the Shocker go, him and
Shocker number 2.
Yeah, Shocker number 2 go at it. And Peter looked like he wasn't holding his own.
Mm-mm.
But then his friend comes in and grabs his web shooters and shoots Shocker in the arm, and then that's when Peter disposes him pretty quickly. And that's another thing, like, if it was Captain America without a shield, he could still take on Tony. He would still be able to take on anybody else. But you take the one thing away from Spider-Man, and he looks like he's helpless, basically.
He relies too much on the web shooters right now.
Mhm.
Yep.
Despite being like super powerful, he just stuck with only the web shooters. Which, if someone else would have done it, they could have probably like pushed the bus against the Shocker or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I thought that he was at his most courageous, because throughout the entire movie he's getting crapped on by everybody anyway, and then Tony takes away his suit and he's like, without this suit I'm nothing. So he goes right away, goes back to being a kid, right?
Mhm.
So then he has that choice. I could just walk into the dance and like nothing, or I could go do something. And he knew at that point he didn't have his suit, he didn't have a tracker, he didn't have Tony, he didn't have anything. So he goes back to that, decides, despite all that, I still have to do something. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I thought that was really cool.
Definitely a growing up moment for him. Like, he, I agree with you on that entirely.
Then it moves on to where he left his phone in the car. That's where his friend said he wanted to be the computer guy or the seat
The
guy.
guy in the chair.
The guy in the chair who was
Mhm.
like
Barbara
like
Gordon.
Oracle.
like Oracle in Batman, where works on computers and figures out stuff for him on the fly. And he tells him to track his phone, and he finds out where Vulture's hideout is, and that's where you hear Vulture's side of things to Peter, and that's when you see Peter kind of like, I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time you're doing something wrong.
Doesn't justify what
yeah.
you're doing.
And that the Spidey sense wasn't a big thing for Peter yet, because Vulture's wings were just flying around, and Peter was dodging them. But at the same time, if he had Spider sense, he would have known the roof was gonna collapse on him.
Right, because the wings were actually intentionally trying to drop the building on him.
Yeah, we're taking out the structure,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I noticed right then and there that, okay, well, he doesn't have a Spidey sense or he doesn't know how to use it yet. Basically, I think that's what it. But yeah, so the roof falls on him, and you see that he sees, I guess, the mask
Half
of him,
mask,
half
face.
Peter, which is a callback again to Spider-Man 2, where he figures out that he has to make that choice to be both Spider-Man and Peter Parker. and that he, like Gosling was saying, he doesn't have the suit, he doesn't have anything, and he was able to lift those beams off of him just by himself.
But he was stuck, and remember he was struggling and crying.
Yeah.
You could tell he was crying and calling out for help like a kid would.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like a kid that's it, you know, when he made that choice right then to not be that. You know?
Well, and as he's lifting it, he keeps saying, "Come on, Spider-Man! Come on, Spider-Man!" You know, like he's really, you know, getting into that part of him. You know, the Spider-Man role.
I actually really did not like that scene at all.
Really?
I thought it's that kind of cliche, overdone. Oh no, I can push through this that they do in all movies. They did with Wonder Woman. They do with probably Batman at some point. I can't recall part off the top of my head, but Iron Man. It's just I think it's just so overdone that I don't know. I'm just sort of.
You're over it?
Move on. Like with the Kingsman trailers. Seen
Yeah.
so many times, I don't care anymore.
Give us a new Kingsman trailer.
Oh, you're right, but at the same time, it's a superhero movie. It's not. You kind of know what you're getting when you buy the ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't see, like, in the other superhero movies, you know, just like how Gosling was saying, like, you know, that he's crying, you know, and he's, like, kind of screaming for help and stuff. You don't see that from the other superheroes. Like, I mean, at that point, he could have just given up and just been the child. But he decided, no, I can't just be a child. I already said I was Spider-Man, so I gotta be Spider-Man.
That was a difference, and it was probably made it the better of the millions of scenes of those we've had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely one of the better ones, but I think at this point it's just so overdone.
It's formulaic.
Yeah.
Like,
It's very formulaic.
main villain gets the better of the hero overcomes some adversity in his own psyche, and then yay, now the hero
Yay.
wins.
Comic books were created, wasn't it, just to give the average man something to look up to, something to want to strive for? Do you know what I mean? I can say that I've never had something like a building fall on me, but there's times in my life where I'm like, I just can't, screw this. And then you kind of pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move on, you know?
Oh, sure.
It's kind of, you know, yeah, it's formulaic and we see it all the time, but I think it's still, you know, something that everybody can relate to again, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, that's true. I think that's what was more about this movie. It was relatable, like we were saying before, to everybody. All right, so final scene, final battle: Vulture versus Spider-Man. And what sets this up is Stark is moving from Avenger Tower to Stark Tower to the Avenger compound, which you saw in Civil War. You know, that compound, they're just making that the home base for the Avengers. So Happy's setting up everything to be moved. And that's where Vulture comes in to steal the tech that Stark has made and everything that Stark had. And it does
Hulkbuster,
the new shield for Cap.
bunch of arc reactors.
Yeah. And so
Belt for Thor.
yeah, belt for
Thor's
Thor.
belt.
So it's that's what I liked about the movie. It was dropping hints, but it wasn't like explaining everything. Like, to me, when he said the prototype for Cap's shield, to me it means that Cap and Iron Man are talking again. They're not cool, but they're talking. Then the jet takes off, and it has the same, you know, tech that Shield helicarrier has, which is like cloaking, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
mirroring, so you really can't see it from the ground. And that's where Vulture comes in and tries to take everything, or at least one box, because remember they were like, with one case, we'll be set for life.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where Peter gets on and tries to stop him. And the plane he actually makes it fall next in Coney Island on the beach. And, you know, through all this, Peter, you know, it looks like he's no match. You know, throughout the whole fight, he's reacting instead of, you know, anticipating. He's just reacting to whatever Vulture throws out at him. And at the end, you know, he knocks him out, and Vulture's going to take off with some tech, but the wings are going to blow up. And Peter's still trying to save him. He's still trying to be the good guy in this and save him versus just letting him die.
Right.
And it blows up, and he does pull him out of the rubble and save him. And, you know, webs everything up. and Happy comes down and he leaves a note saying that this is the Vulture guy that I was telling you about, Spider-Man, and you see Peter Parker just up there watching on the Coney Island roller coaster, and you find out that Happy was, kind of depressed that because he's been working with Tony for so long that if this would have happened, Tony would have probably fired him.
The one thing though that I have to point out, and I think maybe someone might have already seen it too, how come there was no person on that plane whatsoever to guard this stuff? Like, there was not a single person on that plane.
Well, see, and I agree with that too, because he's got whatever thousands of these automated robots at his disposal, and it's like one would have been sufficient to stop that
any
whole thing.
One of them could have done something, like have
Yep.
like a prototype of War Machine or something, just patrolling inside there. But no, there wasn't a single person or thing in there to defend this damn plane.
And
It
that
was
is
like just a self-flying plane. Like, oh, there it goes. Have
That-
fun. Hopefully, it gets to the destination.
that's why Happy would have been fired if the Vulture did it, because Tony Stark would have been like, one suit, man, one suit.
One suit, something.
Happy takes him to Avenger Compound. That's what it's called, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Tony offers him a spot on the team. New suit, everything, press. And Peter takes it as like, oh, okay, well, this is a test, and I say no.
I don't even know if it was necessarily that. I think it's just in the end, it's not what he wanted anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, it occurred to him it might have been a test.
Yeah.
I think he had grown up enough to not be wowed by the tech anymore and not be wowed, like he believed in himself. So the suit didn't hold the same draw as it did in the beginning of the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it wasn't a test. I mean, there was, the press all there and everything. So yeah, I think it was just one of those moments where, just like you were saying, we just grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony was just kind of going along with it. Yeah, of course it was a test.
Right.
Regret.
And the best part of this is that Pepper Potts comes back. If you didn't know, if you didn't see Civil War, it looked like they were broken up, that she wasn't going to come back. And she does. She makes an appearance, and I guess all is well between Tony and Pepper. And then
Another reference to throw back, because when he pulls out the ring from 2008.
yeah, where he was going to propose to her. And then after that, he goes back to school, and then Tony drops off the old suit, and he puts it on, and he's just trying it out, and then that's when you see Aunt May come in and totally shocked that he's in the suit, and then that's where the movie ends, which I thought was a good ending because it sets up, her knowing for the next one.
There's also the part where the Vulture's in jail.
Yeah, the first.
Oh, that
post-
one, I was
the first
gonna,
post
yeah,
credit
and
Is that
scene.
after that?
that was, yeah. So, end credit scene, guys, they brought it up,
Yay.
was the Vulture was in jail, and I guess the guy he was dealing with on the ferry was there too, and he was like all mangled up,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess word got out that Vulture knew who Spider-Man was, and Vulture just kept it to himself. He was like, no, I don't know, because he would have been dead, and he was gonna be out on bail.
Mm-hmm.
So that, to me, Michael Keaton's Vulture could probably be the next Loki in this if they signed him on to, be in more movies. And, I think that would be kind of cool because he's a good actor, and I think he kind of stole scenes.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely.
No knock against Holland or any other actor that was with him. It's just, he's Batman.
Best Batman.
Yeah, the Batman. And he's just a great actor. And, if they can keep him on, cool. No problems here with me. You?
Nah.
Definitely not.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if it's so much him coming back though. To me, it was more like, oh, even after everything, he still saved my life. I can still be with my family because family comes first.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think that's why he didn't rat out Peter. Guess we'll see it. Spider-Man graduation.
Or Spider-Man junior year, or whatever they're going to call it.
Freshman college.
But, yeah, so the movie ends like that. And there's another credit scene with
Captain America.
Captain America, which was totally...
It
Trolling.
was
Yeah.
a Rickroll. It
We
Yeah,
got Rickrolled, but it's the best Rickroll
Yeah,
ever.
it was actually pretty funny. So that's our review. I would probably see this movie again. Don't see it in 3D. Don't see it in Dolby. Just regular.
It's good old fashioned, like just straight up go to the movies. No Dolby, no 3D. Just enjoy this film for what it is. It's my new favorite Marvel film, which is saying a lot.
Dun dun dun. All right.
That's pretty good. It's like Deadpool light.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. No F bombs. Yeah.
Aunt May almost said an F bomb.
Oh yeah, at the very end.
The very end. But yeah, I would watch it again. Maybe Dolby, but like I wouldn't go 3D.
Or
I
IMAX.
wouldn't need it, or
Yeah.
IMAX or anything like that.
What about you, Goslin?
Yes, I'd watch it again. You know, I probably wouldn't watch it in the like expensive movies. If you guys have like the dollar movies, I'd probably do that again. John said it's all superhero movies. Guardians. I loved Guardians. I would see over and over again. This one was alright. I did like that it was relatable.
So that's our review, and I'm gonna go ahead and call on these guys and where you can find them.
Johnny Drinks
Where can they find you?
at Johnny Drinks on YouTube.
Okay. Good sign up.
All right.
And I'm Barky. Check out our YouTube, mine and Erston's YouTube channel, Sketchers. And yeah.
And like you said, I'm Erston, and I'm on the internet as well, doing gaming stuff and art stuff.
Okay, well, I'm Sans Reviews, and you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat at Sans Reviews. That's how you do a sign up, guys. All right.
The
See ya.
social media guru.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Oh yeah.
Guru.
Guru.